Welcome to Engineering is in Our DNA, a podcast series where we talk about the next in engineering that is powering the future for businesses across the world. Mainframes provide reliable and secure foundations for modern IT infrastructures and are a crucial part of enterprise strategy today. In this episode, we continue the mainframe modernization conversation between Jan Erik Aase, Pedro L. Bicudo Maschio, and our very own Siva Sreeraman. In the first episode, they looked at the evolution of mainframe modernization and its common challenges and strategies. This time, they analyze how Mphasis engineering mindset helped clients leverage the cloud for their digital transformation journey.
So Pedro, I've read with interest your latest report on mainframe services and solutions. And as always, what a fantastic report and so many really good and interesting things happening out in the market. And I know Siva would agree with me 100% because you named his company leaders 2 years in a row in mainframe application modernization and transformation services. So congratulations to Mphasis.
Thank you.
And really nice report, Pedro. So I was intrigued by one thing that you said about Mphasis. You say that they propose a phased modernization approach that optimizes a client's application portfolio and eliminates technical debt. Tell me why that's so differentiated. Why was that so important? And Siva, I'd like to hear from you some live examples of where you feel that that actually happened.
The Mphasis differentiation starts with selecting the best tool. So they are not using one single tool it's not a hammer for every problem. You remember that if you have a hammer, every problem is a nail. Yeah. So they don't do that. They have many tools and can help you select the best tool. So depending on the portfolio, it will be a certain vendor for the automated assessment. If it's another portfolio, they may say, well, this tool is not working well. I can use this other tool. So it is pragmatic, but it's also flexible in terms of saying, I have a toolbox that I can use. So it's partnering with the vendors that we also named those vendors leaders in the other quadrant, in the software quadrant. Mm-hmm. So it's partnering with the leaders. And by doing that, they realize that it must be a phased approach because some of these tools and sometimes companies that I want to resolve all the problems with compiling code, or I want to resolve all the problems by re-engineering code. I want to resolve all the problems with emulators. Well, the three methods work. So it's really not one tool for everything. And the biggest risk that you can take is say, I'm going to join into a 2 years engagement and do a big bang transformation. So I'm going to transform all the applications, put them in production in one single shot. That's a big risk for any project. No project, every project that's a big bang is a big. So Mphasis starts with the more practical approach, saying let's eat the cake piece by piece. Let's start assessing which is the best place to start, and then we go from one change to the other. Few of the providers that we assessed have this clear framework that they can apply. So the result for each client is different, but the framework is the same. So it's solid, it's consolidated. It's not that we are going to learn by experimenting. So this is something that captured our attention. Also captured our attention that they've been doing this for a while. So it's not the first year, second year. They've been doing this for a while. So they have lessons learned that they have incorporated in this phased approach. And with a phased approach, you can take the savings from phase one and apply those savings to fund the next one. So you're really working, and you give clients confidence, or you give them time to build trust. Right. They say, okay, we have a successful project. It was not one of those fancy applications or very complex applications, but we understand the tool set works. Then you go from the simple to the more complex. You go from the quick to the longer project. And that's, I think, having the framework, the experience, and the ability to repeat success is one key differentiator for Mphasis.
And you have to admit, if they say to you, listen, we were really successful in phase one and we have money to pay for phase two, should we keep going? Obviously, the answer is yes, you should. So, Siva, some key examples. Obviously, if you can't name names, that makes sense. But tell us some examples of what Pedro just talked about.
So some of the client relationships and the work that Mphasis has done with our clients in transforming their application space. Now, I can say these clients, some of them in our largest industries in the banking and financial services space, and it's a place where you have cutting edge application needs, because the clients and the end customers, which is the users of these services, are always looking for what can be the best service they can get as a customer, whether it be the customer experience or the insights that they have, because you're talking about people's financial interests in any type of engagement that they have with these large clients. So the applications that serve these spaces can be across diverse business needs. So how do you take a 1,000 to 5,000 plus application portfolio and apply a lens of transforming that portfolio? You may not be able to always be successful by applying big bang approaches to these sets of application portfolios. And most clients who have undertaken these journeys may find, often to the detriment, that their vision did not meet the reality when they started the journey. So always breaking up the journey into phases, as we discussed just now, is best suited for achieving their goals, and they can see the benefit of that leapfrogging happening, and they can also apply those benefits and learnings to the optimization and modernization of other application portfolios. Now, for a large financial services customer of ours, we have modernized up to 3,000 plus applications over a span of 3 years. We've undertaken various forms of modernization patterns. For us, it's like, what can be done to speed up this transformation journey? Can I apply the right lens? Can I apply the right partner? Right? Having those experiences. So we are able to see by applying these that you can actually get to your desired outcome faster through automation, through understanding the application better, through carving out the business capabilities. So we've achieved outcomes of up to 45 to 55% faster time to market through the automation and acceleration of these transformation journeys at our large clients. We've also achieved savings of up to 30% in the overall portfolio when it comes to a transformation journey, when you apply various forms of transformation levers like self-funded transformation, by applying automation acceleration, by applying business capability driven modernization. Over a benchmark study we conducted for another client of ours in the logistics industry, we were able to achieve savings in the high tens of millions of dollars in a large application portfolio. High tens of millions of dollars, and this was over just a 2-year period. And this benchmarking study proved that you can actually measure what was defined at the beginning of the transformation journey, and those outcomes that were promised were the ones that were delivered. Often leadership changes, often visions change for applications, but this particular client allowed us to be consistent throughout our transformation journey with them, and they were also keeping us accountable that, hey, when you started with us, you said you would generate this much savings in time to market, in cost. Did you actually do it? And we undertook that journey with them by looking at their portfolio, optimizing their portfolio across the software development lifecycle, and coming up with the numbers and said, okay, this was the start of the program. This is what you could achieve at a 2-year benchmark, and this is what we will achieve over the next 3 years. So it's true that it's not like you promise something and you don't deliver it because things have changed. So we remain consistent. We were able to measure the outcomes and deliver according to those outcomes. So, and thanks to that, the client renewed and has given us better and bigger portfolios to deal with. So I would say definitely it's a journey that we have to undertake and hold ourselves accountable as global system integrators, that what we promise is what we will deliver, and we are able to partner with our clients, and thereby this leads to better business for everybody.
Those numbers are really impressive, Siva. They're like bringing tears to my eyes thinking about my old days at American Express and how dependent were on the mainframe, and everything sat there. So the world has changed so dramatically, and what you have available to you as tools and techniques have really made a difference. I mean, those really are amazing numbers. So you talked about some of the risk mitigation that you can take. Can you describe some of the best practices in organizing a modernization program that maybe clients can learn from? So that you mentioned that sometimes clients' expectations aren't met. So how can they reduce the risk of failure as far as what they expect and what's going to be delivered?
When we work with clients, right, we first try to not just launch into a project and be an order taker. But there's a way that we go about trying to understand the client's journey and the need for migration or modernization and the applications that are in that space. What do they actually consist of? What does this business need, or what does this business drive, so that we know how important these applications are to the client, to our end customer. And we can take the right measures as a GSI to prepare ourselves for that modernization journey, so that when we embark upon a particular engagement, we are not caught by surprise ourselves, as well as we are able to provide our experiences of operating across oceans to clients. So as a GSI, you're able to see multiple challenges, multiple advantages that you engage with, and bring those learnings to our clients and recommend certain types of tweaks or journey changes as we go about the process of modernization and migration. Now, risk mitigation strategies include being aware of what could potentially go wrong when you, for example, refactor applications. Right? There are a number of things that you need to take care of. Sometimes, and more often than not, you're not going to get the same amount of your business agility in the very first increment. You're going to see a lot of security issues, and you'll need to manage those security issues as you go about making your application more modernized. You're needing to manage the performance of those applications, latency of those applications. So it's a lot of expectation setting. It's a lot of knowledge sharing about the pitfalls that you have seen. And these journeys are hard fought, hard won journeys. And when it comes to success, you can take those learnings so that one client does not have to go through a bad experience for themselves, to be able to understand what is needed to be part of the modernization for them. They can also learn from the experiences that the GSIs can bring to the table, to share what GSIs are learning, about managing high transaction processing volumes, about managing data that is siloed, and those learnings can be brought to clients. So this is a form of risk mitigation that clients should engage with their GSI at all times, to be able to understand the journeys that have been undertaken through case studies, through learnings. To be able, for the GSI, it's also a mitigation that you're able to provide expectations to the client on what can transpire during that journey, and prepare the client so that the client is not taken by surprise and is able to partner with the GSI, both in terms of the outcomes, in terms of the execution, in terms of the field messaging, what can be expected as a part of the transformation. I would say a lot of these are joint partnership journeys between the client and the GSI that ultimately lead to great outcomes for both parties. I would say then this would be something that I would strongly have our execution teams and our pursuit teams be aware of as we go through these journeys with our clients.
So if I heard you right, to summarize, for clients, don't be an order giver. You brought this SI in place for a reason, so be willing to learn from them. Be aware of what could go wrong, so listen and collaborate together so that you set the expectations with everyone. Be aware of security, and it's not, like you said, it's not a one person versus another person. It's a collaboration between both that need to come together. Learn from what experience the provider has had with other clients, and take what applies to you and learn from it. And then finally, the most important thing you said is be a partner. Realize that from the beginning you both have to partner, or it's not going to be a success. Okay, Siva, so everything we've talked about really leads any client to say, I should go forward. So the question is, should I do it myself? Should I just get my IT department and just start working hard? Or should I involve a system integrator like Mphasis? And if so, why? Why would I do that? And how will I select a partner? And Pedro, if you could comment after that about that piece of how can I select a partner? With everyone you looked at, what are some of those key characteristics that you think anybody should be aware of and should be looking for?
One, I would say the answer is not or, the answer is and. You should involve your IT teams, yes, because they are the knowledge keepers. They have relevance. They have the understanding of your application. They understand your landscape better than anybody ever could, right? And you should involve a GSI like us. This is especially important when you want to achieve the on-demand ability to scale up and down, expertise up and down. And the GSI has also got domain expertise across the landscape of business and the landscape of technology. And they have access to the experiences from other clients. We referred to that in the earlier conversation. So I would say the answer is a GSI can complement your IT teams very effectively. They can also be a great source of flexibility for you to navigate the process of modernization and transformation with the help of their expertise, the technology talent, the ecosystem partnerships that they bring. Often we find that clients may have been entrenched with a particular ISV, and the GSI then brings an experience of another ISV and another technology, another capability that may be different and more possibly better than what they are seeing today. So I would say the answer is and definitely would encourage and help our clients take advantage of the GSI model in all their transformation and modernization journeys.
Fantastic. So Pedro, in having evaluated so many different service providers, what do you think are those key characteristics that any client should be looking for when picking a partner?
Yeah, I think that Siva touched the main point. You're outsourcing knowledge. You're not buying manpower. It's not how many people you need. It's really what skills that partner has. And so you need to consider skills. You need a partner that can understand your language. So it must understand the mainframe language. It must understand the public cloud language. So you must have certifications in both kind of environments. And the questions that you should ask are related to how many times have you done this? Tell me stories. You don't need to tell details from a different client or project, but tell me what can go wrong. And providers should not be afraid of the question. And it's like when you're facing a doctor, you go to surgery and you want to know the risks, the clients need to ask the risk. And then it's where you feel confidence or not on the person that is telling you there's no risk, right? If the person is trembling, you know that the answer is not exactly what you expect you to have. So you need to ask those tough questions. How many times you've done this? What can go wrong? What you're going to do if it goes wrong? What are the alternatives? How is the rollback? Really touch the things that can go wrong, because this is a complex project. It can go wrong. Then also think about the alternatives or the tool set that the system integrator is going to use. The broader the tool set or the toolbox, then more options you have. You don't expect that it's going to be a magic solution or a magic tool that's going to do everything. You need to have a partner, the system integrator, that's able to assess and recommend you, this is the best tool, not this other one. Some clients think, well, if they are getting a commission for selling the tool, this is not the case in this kind of project, because you're not selling any software. It's really selecting the right people. Also, think of providers that are not afraid of subcontracting and having the experts from the software vendor because perhaps they don't have all the expertise. But then the question comes back, have you worked with this vendor before? Tell me what they are great at doing. Tell me what they are not so great at doing. So that you get the experience for selecting the system integrator. So you need to look at the credentials, the experience, how many times done it, the partners they're going to use. I think that the key factors is not about size of the provider, is not about the regions or number of countries or number of cities, because really, do they have the resources where you have the problem, right? Where you have the mainframe, that's what matters. I think that covers what I would look is really experience.
Great. Thanks,
you can ask, do you know what kicks is? If they don't know what kicks and batch is, it's a bad sign.
Yeah, MIPS, all of those other things that we've heard about for so many years. Well, Pedro and Siva, it's been really fantastic to speak to both of you today. I think it's a very interesting topic. As I said, it's on the top of everyone's mind. It is the base for everything that they're trying to do. What you've laid out for us today, I think really well, is there are alternatives. There's just not one choice. You don't just say, I have to migrate my mainframe to the cloud. I have to get rid of my data center. There's actually alternatives. And I think what you talked about from a modernization perspective actually gave many other alternatives within just modernization. So it was a fantastic session. For all of you listening in, I hope you found it as enjoyable as I did and learned something. Thanks again for joining us today, Siva and Pedro. Everyone take care.
Thank you, Jan Erik. Thank you, Pedro.